that mean? Okay. Council will call the meeting to order. For the record, it is January 2nd, 2024 at 5 p.m. We'll begin this evening's City Council special meeting with roll call attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Strader, Councilman Overton.
Here.
Councilwoman Burrow.
Here.
Councilman Cavanagh.
Here.
Councilman Borton.
Here.
Councilman Hoagland.
Here.
Mayor Simonson.
Here. First item up is adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
there are no changes to tonight's agenda. I move that we adopt the agenda as published. Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as published. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the agenda is adopted. Next up is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
I move that we approve the consent agenda for the mayor to sign and clerk to attest. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the consent agenda is agreed to. There were no items moved from the consent agenda, so we'll move on to action items. First up is item 11, which is fiscal year 2024 budget amendment in the amount of $250,000 for well 29 pump upgrade. And we'll turn this over to Director McVeigh.
All right, thank you. First, I'm really excited. This many people are excited about well 29. I don't think we've ever had so many people show up. Kidding. All right. So just to orient yourself, this is a budget amendment for water in Zone 1. So Zone 1 is in our northwest corner of the city. Currently, we only have one well in this zone, and that's well 29. We are currently under construction on well 34, but I'll talk a little bit about the delay that has happened there and the need to potentially accelerate the pump upgrade at well 29. So just a little bit of history because it's important on this one. So we completed well 29 in 2018 and we started design on well 34 in 2021. Most of the time, these new wells take us about 3 to 4 years to complete. And so we were moving along in that process. Unfortunately, we've experienced a couple of significant delays with contractor availability, and then the contractor's equipment had challenges too. So we are experiencing about a 2-year delay that we're anticipating to finish well 34. So what we are asking to do is we had a pump upgrade scheduled in the CFP to start in 2026, and we are asking to just pull that forward to FY24 so we can get started on that. Essentially, when we build these wells, we build them so that they have a pump that meets the capacity of today, and then they're able to, when the need grows to a certain level, we can just swap out the pump, put a new pump in, and it gains us additional capacity. So we have plenty of water, but the issue is pumping it out of the ground in the area of town where we're experiencing the growth. So one of the questions might be, do we have to do this right now? No, but what happens is we pump water from zone 2 and then we bleed it over into zone 1, and that essentially wastes energy and can cause us some operational considerations. So this is an easy way for us to gain some additional capacity much quicker than building a brand new well. And then once we have 29 upgraded with the new pump and we have 34 finished, this zone or part of town should be well set for quite a while into the mid 2030s. So essentially what I'm asking is to just move forward a planned project due to some delays that we've encountered on another project.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Strader.
could you talk about the delays that you've encountered on the other project?
So I'm actually going to turn this over to Kyle because he'll be able to give you better details.
Councilman Strader, Mr. Mayor. Where do I start? So we initially, when we were on schedule, we had the contractor out there about this time last year, and they were the beginning of these projects is a test well. We usually drill about 1,000 feet into the ground, And, and then we put in a series of tubes that we actually make from 8 to 10 wells out of one hole. And you construct that from the bottom up. And what can happen, and what did happen in the last spring, is it got really cold, and the drillers had difficulty circulating his mud and keeping his engineered polymer mud at the right viscosity. And we had swelling clays, and the hole started to collapse. And so he got one of those test well tubes in and basically abandoned the rest of the well. So of the we design usually, I think I said 8 to 10, maybe up to 12, but we got one in. And so then he filled the rest of the well up with abandoned it properly with grout, and then left the site. And then he was going to get started again this summer after he did some wells for Meta, which is another issue we've had. They have been very demanding of his time in getting their wells drilled. And does that mean that we're less important than Meta? Well, I'm not sure if I can give you a straight answer on that, but I'm pretty sure we're getting a better deal than Meta. But then when he was ready to start drilling again this summer, he had equipment problems. He had to get a new pump for his grout pump, and then I can't remember the other problem he had, but anyway, he didn't get started until fall of this year. So we're back, and the other problem he had initially getting started, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, but there was, at the tail end of the COVID supply issues, there was a problem getting PVC for the well as well.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Schreier.
So to summarize, delay, equipment issues, contractor issues. Sounds like we'll take it offline. I appreciate that.
Council, any additional questions? Okay. Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hoagland.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve a fiscal year 2024 budget amendment in the amount of $250,000 for well 29 pump upgrade.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Strater,
Aye.
Overton, Burrow,
Aye.
Cavanagh.
Aye.
Borton.
Aye.
Hoagland.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries, and the item is agreed to. Thank you, and hopefully this one goes better. With that, read this ordinance by title.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's an ordinance related to Alexander's Landing subdivision, Nation 10, Township 3 North, Range 1 West, Boise, Meridian, Ada County, Idaho, more particularly described in Exhibit A, rezoning 7.03 acres of such real property from RUT to R8 zoning district, directing city staff to alter all applicable use and area maps, as well as all official zoning maps and all official maps depicting the boundaries and the zoning districts of the city of Meridian in accordance with this ordinance, providing that copies of this ordinance shall be filed with the Ada County Assessor, the Ada County Treasurer, the Ada County Recorder, and the Idaho State Tax Commission as required by law, repealing conflicting ordinances and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council, you've heard this ordinance read by title. Is there anybody that would like it read in its entirety? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Pro.
I move that we approve ordinance number 24-2042.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 24-2042. Is there any discussion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Strater,
Aye.
Overton,
Aye.
Burrow,
Aye.
Cavanagh, Borton.
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries, and the item is agreed to. Our final item on today's special council meeting is a recognition of outgoing city council members for Councilwoman Perot and Councilman Hoagland. and try to be respectful of some of their wishes in terms of not making this more than it needs to be or can be, but I'll let each council member speak to what they find. But I'll go ahead and take a few minutes first if that's okay. And I'm going to start with Councilman Perot, who we came in together 4 years ago. And I just want to say I value very much the efforts that you've taken in the area of housing here in our community and the community development planning process. I know that you're coming from your time on planning and zoning, that's always been a passion of yours, and you carried that forward here to the city. And I think the applicants, the applications that were approved are better because of it. The planning staff, I think, has thought differently about things because of your conversations. And I think the community has heard your questions well. So it's been a pleasure. And I don't know what comes next, and I don't think you know that either, but it's been great serving alongside of you. We value it very much. Mr. Hoagland, I had the pleasure of first meeting you over at Rick's Press Room prior to your appointment at an event for Mayor Tammy, if memory serves me correctly, and got to know you then. And you've been a part of my service to the city ever since in various capacities, sometimes taking a hiatus, sometimes coming back. But the last 2 years specifically, you've made my job, I don't want to say easy by any stretch of the imagination, but you've allowed our relationship to grow through the process and, made it the job easier for me in that. And, every Wednesday, our conversations, I never had to worry about where we were coming from or where we were going because we were there together. And so I just want you to know I value and appreciate that more than you realize. You've been a great friend and mentor, for 17 years to me. And it's not over. It's just going to be different. I know that moving forward. So just want to say thank you to you for that. And I'll let the rest of the council members who want to speak. We do have plaques, which I think we'll just go ahead and we'll adjourn the meeting when we're done, and anyone who wants to take pictures, we can do that from that standpoint. But just appreciate and value you both.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Schrader.
I'll say a few words. It's been a pleasure serving with both of you. And I'll start with Councilwoman Perot. You have served our community with so much heart, and you tackled the issues head on, and you weren't afraid to take on the biggest issues, the most thorny issues. You were never intimidated. You never stopped. You always pushed as hard as you could, and especially when it came to affordable housing, I think that you have moved the needle more than anyone else has on our city council on that topic. And I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful for your friendship, and just believe that you've really served our community well. And for Council President Hoagland, I appreciate you too. And we had a rough campaign, but I think we can say that we're friends still. And I think you've always served our community from your heart, and that you're a person who really cares about our community, and that was reflected in your service on our city council. So I'm grateful to you as well. So I just appreciate both of you, and you'll be missed.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Overton.
I'd like to start off by thanking Councilman Perot. When I first got this job just a year ago, you were the first person that really reached out and came over to my house and wanted to help me understand everything and walk me through different applications. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. For those starting out, it's been called drinking from a fire hose, and it is, but you helped that a lot and took some of that pressure away from me, and I really appreciate it. And I'm not just saying that because of the personal side. of how you're helping out members of my family right now, but I appreciate that as well very much, and so do they. Thank you for your service. It's been fantastic. Councilman Hoagland, I can't even remember how many years that I've known you, because when I first started working with you, I was sitting in those seats wearing a uniform. You have been working for the city, for this employees, for the best interests of the cities for such a long time. I'm going to miss that the only two people sitting up here that graduated from Meridian High School when it was the only high school in the city. I'm going to lose my sidekick. And when I look back at council members that have served, I look at the greats. You know, I remember very fondly Keith Bird, Charlie Roundtree, and David Zaremba. But Brad, you're always going to be one of those greats for the level of service that you've always provided the city and what you've done over these past literally 20 years off and on time that you worked for the city and the things you've done. I'll never forget it, and I use it as an example going forward. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
couple thoughts, try and keep my composure. I want to start, just for everyone that's here, from my perspective, this is the finest city council that I've ever had the pleasure of serving with. We've had some greats, some titans, but as a team, I've really enjoyed being a part of this amazing team. And a lot of that has to do with Jessica. Jessica and I didn't know each other real well. We, I think, had some preconceived notions of each other when she started. And it is a true joy that when your time is coming to an end, that I'm losing a friend. And that's bittersweet because, good. A couple of things that I want to share about Jessica, because these are things that I'm taking away from her. Three things. First is her gentle tenacity. Jessica has a unique ability to get to the facts in a really, really kind manner. She's unwavering. You're not going to talk her away from anything, but she's going to get to the bottom of it with kindness and grace. As someone who from time to time has been a little passionate up here at the dais, I appreciate someone else who brings a little passion to the role. And sitting beside you, it's been really, really great to see your passion, not just for the issue, but for our community. And the other thing that I didn't realize we benefited from was your expertise in the real estate environment. And I just so thank you for bringing that subject matter expertise to the table. To what my colleagues have said before, it has made for better applications, better questions, better response from our applicants and from our staff. And so it's, I hope, enjoyable that you're leaving quite a legacy here on our council. And I think our council is better for it because no problem. With Brad, it's also a little bit different. People go away to, baseball fantasy camp or rock and roll fantasy camp. For 4 years, if I've been able to sit between these two people, I've been at public service fantasy camp. And when I was first elected, I remember telling my wife, if I could do the job half as good as Brad Hoagland, I think I'd do an okay job. I've learned so much sitting next to you. And probably one of the things that I've learned is that I still have a lot to learn. And I appreciate your wisdom and your leadership. And you're a true teacher. We've all been better because we've been able to sit next to you and learn from you. To that point, we as a council talk a lot about the Keith Bird rule. And it's something that I appreciate Councilmember Borton always keeping top of mind. And the thought of the Keith Bird rule is that when we're up here, we advocate like cats and dogs for the positions that we believe in. We beg, borrow, and steal to do what we think is best. We take a vote, and then Wednesday, we go back together, working together for the city. And Keith embodied that. I think we as a council have embodied that. But if you will all indulge me, I'm going to propose a new rule, which is the Hoagland rule. This won't come as much of a surprise to anybody here in the room, have made some mistakes up here. We all as council members, as humans, have made mistakes. And I was thinking a lot about this past season, and Brad continued to teach and lead us. And so the Hoagland rule that I'm going to propose is that when we all inevitably make a mistake, which we will, we're going to own it. We're going to work to make it right, and we're going to learn from it. And Brad, you have continued to teach me, and I'm still working to be about half as good at this job as you are. But with your wisdom and tutelage, I think I'm going to get there. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for me, for my family, the encouragement, the teaching, and the example that you've led for our council. It's been well received and appreciated.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Borton.
hopefully you can hear me. I apologize. I'm trapped in an airport and can't be there in person, but certainly wouldn't want to miss this. I think the word that Councilwoman Strader referenced is gratitude, and the gratitude that I have for both of you impacts all of us in different ways. For me, Jessica, your heart, short and sweet, is the most amazing, powerful tool that you bring to every week. You are very passionate in every single application and every single task at hand. It feels like you've served more years than you have. And I think it's just a testament to how driven you've been week over week to be involved and engaged. And I think it just comes from your heart. A lot of people love our community. You truly show passion and heart for what Meridian is, and your passion for the details shows every week. And the details matter. And if you push and press to try and make a decision a little better, or make an application a little better, hear the public a little more, those little details matter, Jessica. It's had a big impact on me. It's been helpful to remind us on how to serve great way and remind us why we serve. So you show it with colors every week. So I appreciate you sharing that. I'm grateful for learning from you and watching you display that week over week. So you lead with heart, and I love it. Mr. Hoagland, we've worked together for a long, long time, brother. And the gratitude that I have for you and your service, it's not just your humility, your respect and candor towards the process and the people involved. But you've always been able to weave together a historical context in what we do, bringing to us perspective on why we made certain decisions, whether it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, how that led to what might be an appropriate perspective, and making a decision today. I'm trying to be mindful more and more about the long-term impact of our decisions in any variety of things that come before us. And I'm grateful because I think a lot of that comes from you and watching you try to make decisions with leadership that's not focused on this week or this month, but for those times when all of us are gone and there's 7 more up there trying to make long-term decisions. I think that perspective is what is a reason why Meridian's successful today, because that attitude existed in prior councils. And I think you've carried it forward throughout your entire service. Hopefully it's rubbed off on all of us. I know it's had a huge impact on me, and I'm very grateful for that. And you'll sorely be missed, but be comforted in the fact that the way you had that caretaker focus is carrying forward as well. That we're going to try and serve in the manner you serve, and keep that long-term view for Meridian. So I'm very, very grateful to you and having that impact on how to serve well. So much love to you both.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Pro.
I'm okay with if passionate means long-winded and opinionated. No, I'm just kidding. I really am passionate and I love this city. I made some notes and I'm going to read them because I'm a little emotional this evening, so I don't want to lose my place. Excuse me. It was wonderful to sit down and write out all the things that I have enjoyed and learned from each of you. And just the incredible honor it's been to have a group of people who are willing to vote for just an average gal who had a desire to benefit her community and to use the things that she has had the opportunity to learn in my career and in my life to hopefully continue the amazing service that the council members before us had done. And so I want to share something about each of you. Liz, thank you so much for, excuse me, I wish Treg was here. I think this is the first time I've cried on the dais. Thank you for challenging me to think big, to think bigger, to work harder, and to ask really great questions. You have been an example of what I would have wanted to be as a council member in your commitment, and you never approached anything half-heartedly or halfway. And our city is very much better for it. And you have been my council member ride or die. John, I'm just amazed that you have served our city, for 27 years as a staff member. And yet you came back to make equally as hard decisions and taking on an even more, potentially more challenging position and running for office to do it all over again. That's just an incredible example of perseverance, and that kind of commitment is hardly seen much anymore. And you just have a true love for our community that is incredible and special. So thank you. Joe, hope you can hear me okay. More than anyone else on council, you have taught me to slow down, to be thoughtful and methodical, and to choose my words wisely. I think I say at least 2 to 3 times more words than you do in a council meeting. But there's a reason that the room is quiet and everyone really listens when you speak. So I have learned so much from you about being a good listener and really choosing our words well. I appreciate you for that. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Brad, thank you so much for exempling kindness and patience. And many times when my passion would show through, you would look over at me and with your eyes would say, be patient and be kind. And you always approached everything with a consistency and a moderation that has never been natural to me, and I've learned from you very much in that. You have taught me how to use storytelling as a gentle way to communicate communicate a difficult idea or a difficult decision, and to be very forward thinking about our community. Of all of the council members that would have a reason to say, hey, we're growing so fast, let's slow down and return to the good old days. I know we all would love that in some way, but you have been so forward thinking about what our city needs, even when the decision to say yes to those things has been difficult. And I appreciate that because you have led us in that way. Luke. Thank you for modeling what it is to be a true representative to our residents and teaching all of us to put them first. Sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in the details of a decision or the challenges of a decision that it's often easy for us as individuals to vote on what we think is best. instead of being good listeners and hearing what our residents think is best. And I think you model that so, so well. And that is one of the best things that I've learned from you. So, excuse me. Last but not least, Mayor Simison, while we often haven't agreed on the financial priorities of the city, I really appreciate you and thank you for being an example of not giving up on your goals and your intentions. They've often required you to think outside the box, to bring other organizations and individuals on board that didn't even have those goals as priorities for themselves or for their organizations. And you don't rest until you have brought others along to also have a vested interest in what's best for the city. And I appreciate that perseverance that you have. It takes a lot of persistence and countless meetings to cast vision to folks to come on board with something big. And I thank you for your commitment, your time commitment to those things, because it would be very easy to just go with the flow and not be forward thinking about our city. And you have done your very best to just help everyone have a vision of what will benefit our residents in the future. Thank you for your fervent commitment to keeping our city debt free. That is something that not everyone has a heart for and a commitment for. It would be very easy to take this city into a place where we were not benefiting our residents that way. And you have worked really hard to do that. And we are all, as residents of the city, as council members, benefited from your commitment to that. And I also want to say thank you for making the big decisions, for trusting us as council to help you and all of us together make big financial commitments and investments that may seem risky, but have been very needed. And it's been tough to lead through a pandemic and through multi-million-dollar decisions, many of them in a very short amount of time. And so I really appreciate that you didn't waver from the commitment to do those things, and often at risk of not receiving positive feedback about those decisions. So thank you very much. I have more thank yous for our directors, but I won't go that long-winded, but I will share those with each of you personally. And one more thank you I'd like to make is to Chris. Chris, you're amazing. You've kept us running like a well-oiled machine. Every week, you come in here with just the most positive attitude. We never have to guess whether our workstations will be clean and set up, and you care about the very smallest thing to the biggest things. And in your department, you're willing to serve in any way. And you have a true heart and attitude that is, just willing to be a servant. And I appreciate how much you have done for us. And we're so spoiled because the second we ask, you're there and you're figuring things out. And excuse me, I've really appreciated that about you. And I want to just say thank you to you, because you are just quiet about how you go about things. And I just want to publicly say my appreciation for you. So sorry. So there was one evening when I was unable to make the regular meeting, and I overheard a council member say, "Oh, great, our regular meeting will be short because Jessica's not here." And at first I was kind of miffed, and then I thought, they're not exactly wrong. So congratulations, you all. You'll have more time on your Tuesday evenings from here on out.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Shader.
just for 1 second, because we can't let those be your parting words. I just have to say that I know we have all appreciated so much your passion and your input. And I know you don't ever feel guilty about asking those questions or digging into those details. And that's part of what has made you a phenomenal council member. So that's what I think we appreciate most about you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Hoagland.
Yeah, I have a few thank yous as well. First of all, when I decided to run again for city council back in 2019, I thought about it because I knew what I was getting into. Unlike Councilwoman Strader and Councilwoman Perot, it was brand new to them, but I kind of knew. But one of the things that tilted the scale, knowing that there's time invested and you're going to family time and different things, and you have to arrange your work schedule and different things, was the fact I'm going to work at a place where there are some fantastic people who work here. And that's our city employees. We have great leadership by our department heads. Their leadership teams are fantastic to work with. We have dedicated staff. They're hardworking. Their customer service is fantastic. We live in a great city. It's because of our city employees. It really is. And the service that you provide to everyone out there, especially in this growing environment, because it's difficult. There's a lot of challenges here with growth. And having served before when there was a recession and having to serve when there's rampant growth, I'd rather have the challenge of growth because recessions are very difficult on people, but there's a lot of challenges here. And for you to keep up and keep at it and trying to hire and COVID, and that was a curveball we never saw coming, Mayor, when we came in 2019, being elected in 2019, and 2020 started, and you have these plans and ideas, but you laid out a great plan, Mayor, and worked with the city and with us, and to keep things going, to keep our workers safe, but yet allow the full operation of this community moving forward in a way that wasn't a hindrance. And although some people think so, but really, we had a great operation going, and everyone is to be credited for that because you made things happen. One of the messages I take away about change that I heard is, maybe it's because I'm the oldest one on council and I've seen lots of change. Having moved to Meridian in 1970 as a kid, and truly a small town, and riding when the fire siren went off, riding the bike, because I lived downtown off of Carlton, and coming down with friends to watch all the volunteer firefighters pull into the station right over here and jump on and head out. And we thought that's the coolest thing ever, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd be sitting here doing this for my community. So it's been awesome to do that. But it is a privilege to work with the mayor and these council members, and Councilman Kavanaugh, I think, hit it. It's such a great group. I've said this before, everyone has a heart to serve this community. And that remains, every one of them up here. And I know two others, Doug and Ann, who are going to be sworn in a little bit later, they have that same heart. They want to do our city well. And that's the good thing. And sometimes we disagree about how to do that. And that's okay. Because what I found with this group, and I think it's going to occur with the other two coming on, we do it without being disagreeable. We respect each other's opinion. We try to understand that perspective and take that into consideration. And I know all of us have had our minds changed, because I know I have, listening to people speak to an issue and going, oh, I didn't see it that way. And that's the good thing about it. We leave our minds open to understand, seek to understand. And again, we still may go a different direction, but it's still a way to go, okay, I understand, I'm doing it differently, but I understand. Seeking to understand that's great advice. If anybody, you can make sure they understand that if you can understand people, you've come a long ways in helping and listening to one another. In fact, when I was serving previously, a reporter asked me, there was an issue going on in Boise and there was dissension, and Nampa had an issue and there was dissension. And they said, well, Councilman, why is Meridian, you guys just don't have that dissension? And this was at a time when there were just 4 of us on the council. And I just said, well, it's kind of like being the middle child between Nampa and Boise. We just do our thing and we go along and don't raise a ruckus. We're the middle child. But really, that was just my pat answer to him to move it along, because I had no idea why. But you know, it is truly is because of the heart of people who want to serve and bring solutions to the table and work through it. And when we have that discussion, things work better. So I do want to tell folks, you know, I'm disappointed I'm not returning, but at the same time, I know every one of these people up here want to do the right thing for this community. Doug and Ann want to do that. I have every confidence as a private citizen that they are going to do the right thing and they'll find the right way to do it. And there may be some disagreements, but I know they won't be disagreeable, and I appreciate that. And that's what I look forward to from these folks. You know, everyone brings their strengths to the table. When Jessica came on board, serving on planning and zoning was a big help. And with her realtor background, to be able to have that understanding and the passion that she brings, and it is passion. And we've talked about it a couple times about how to be passionate and the right times and whatnot. So always good conversations because we want to help each other grow and become better people. And that's always my goal. And I know others, it's the same thing. And Luke, you know, the joy I have there is the fact that I got to know your better half first.
Many people's joy.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing family. And Luke, your passion for people. You're making sure that they are being heard, that they're listened to, that the process serves them, and it's not our convenience. I appreciate that because there are times I'm about efficiency and let's get it done. And then I have to step back. No, Luke is right. It's not about that efficiency. It's about the people and their understanding and their participation in the process. So that I appreciate. You bring that day in and day out, and that's something we need. That's a voice we need. So that is a great thing. Councilman Strader, first time we met, I think we had talked and we were going to run for office. 3 seats were vacant, and the 3 of us ran in 2019 for different seats. And I'm thinking, man, she's never done anything like this before. But what I noticed right there, and you've proved throughout, you are a quick learner. You're very bright, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but you're very bright. You grasp things and you have a passion for serving this community, and that's a great thing. That's what we want. It takes a lot of work and it takes time and sacrifice for your family, and you have to make that work, and you're willing to do that, and that is greatly appreciated. And I know how much time you invest in this, and you're very detailed, by the way. I'm sure someone's told you that before, but very detailed. And you need to have that. And that's a good thing as well, because sometimes we can go on, again, efficiency, whatever. Okay, yeah, I think I understand it from a high level, but you want to dig into the details, and we need that as well. So I appreciate that very much. And I wish you very well in this position, again, for another 4 years. And you've grown a lot, and you can continue to grow. So that's good. And John, I was privileged to serve with the mayor and Joe to sit down during the interview process and talk about the right guy for the job. Your service to our community in the police leadership team, understanding of the community, growing up here, seeing it differently than others because we all come at a different time and from a different viewpoint. Just your common sense approach and being in a structured system where there's processes and, you know, you just can't be random about doing things in police work. You know that there's going to be something going before a judge probably at some time. There's processes, there's the law, there's rights, there's different things. I appreciate you bringing that to this council and your understanding of the inner workings from that staff perspective that you bring. That those of us that we work with staff, but we haven't served in the city as a staff member and having to deal with council. And then your perspective as an HOA president and coming forward here. And it's just like, oh yeah, he's well prepared. He's been an HOA president. Nothing will phase him here, up here. So, and of course, I think the best thing is your better half too with Nora. So great campaign asset. So it's great to have her. Joe and I go way back. You know, I got appointed because of Joe. And if you want to know a funny story, I guess we got time. I can reminisce a bit. So I'm prone to do that, I guess. But it so happened that Joe, with his business and family life and everything, had to step down and do some things. So this vacancy occurred. And someone had approached me. I'd worked with Mayor Tammy and knew her and had been involved in her campaign when she decided to run for mayor, and offices we had here in Meridian, we held our meetings there. And so someone came to me and said, Brad, you know Mayor Tammy, I want to apply for this vacancy. And I thought, great, she doesn't know me, but could you put in a good word for me? I said, sure, I'd be happy to. And she would like to go to different churches and different times to worship and meet people and whatnot. And it so happened that next week or 2 weeks later, she showed up at our church. And she was there, and I saw her, chatted with her, and I says, Mayor, I got somebody who I think you ought to consider for this council vacancy. You know, they're real good and everything. She said, oh, that's great. You know, make sure, gave her the name and everything. And then she looked at me and says, why not you? And I'm like, whoa, I never thought of that before. I said, well, I don't want to say that my daughter was still in high school. My daughter had just graduated that spring and was off to college. I didn't have the excuse of the family, and they were very involved in school and athletics and student government and other service projects. And it just kind of like, I don't know. Let me think about it. I'll talk to Candace about that. So imagine what a difficult conversation I had to have with somebody who said, yeah, I'll put in a good word for you and I get appointed to the seat. So that was kind of how that happened. So, and then I ran a year plus later and enjoyed that very much with 4 of us. And no, I am not at that level of Charlie Roundtree and Keith Bird and David Zaremba. That was, for me, I was youngest on the council at the time. It does make your head spin a bit when I came back on council. I'm the oldest one serving. And I think that's why some of that perspective about change is going to happen. I see it in my life every day. My son's birthday's tomorrow. That number goes, when my wife reminded me how old he was, well, I can't be, I'm not that old, but change happens. And seeing it from that perspective, 1970 as a boy to what it is today, and walking through these things and thinking, oh, if only we had done this back then. You know, you have that ability of hindsight. So trying to think ahead. And someone had asked me previously about the railroad corridor. When are we going to get a commuter rail and all this stuff? You know, it's not going to happen yet. There's no financial infrastructure. We don't have the density and the mass yet. But my job today is to preserve that corridor, because someday that will be used. And it's seeing those opportunities and those things. And one thing I'm proud about this council and the previous councils throughout is saving for future needs, purchasing parkland in advance of need, and also trying to get ahead of it for police and fire and facilities and those types of things. And in public works, Keith Bird was the one who told me what you can't see is very expensive. He was very right about that when it came to public works. Oh my. So I guess that's where it comes from. It's just the fact of having seen that, working with people and just going, wow, if we'd have known, trying to impart that wisdom, not that it's really that wise, just kind of things that I've noticed over the years. So to all of you, thank you for the opportunity. It has been a pleasure. I did tell people that my wife wasn't really over upset when I lost. I don't know why, but I think there's something about some time that she gets back now for me. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. My grandkids are getting a little bit older, so they have that opportunity to, they're involved, starting to get involved in athletics and different things. So I'll have more time to be free to do that. But I'm always open. If you have a question or if you think I can help, I'm happy to take your call, of course. I always will be. So I always want what's best for this community. Love it. This is where I live. This is where I remain. This is where my grandkids are. This is where my parents are. So that's what I want. Best for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, do I have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Pro.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
A motion and a second adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. You guys have it. We are adjourned. Council will call the meeting to order. For the record, it is January 2nd, 2024 at 6:01 PM. We will begin this evening's regular city council meeting with roll call attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Strader,
Here?
Councilman Overton,
Here.
Councilwoman Perot,
Here.
Councilman Cavanagh,
Here.
Councilman Borton.
Here.
Councilman Hoagland,
Here.
Mayor Simison.
Here. Next item up is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please rise and join us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's community invocation will be delivered by Troy Drake of Calgary Chapel Meridian. If you would all please join us in the community invocation or take this as a moment of silence and reflection. Pastor?
Well, Lord God, thank you so much for this evening and that we can gather here like this. We appreciate so much, God, the freedom that we have in this country and in this great city, this great state. And it's such a blessing. I just ask God that you would bless Meridian this coming year, even more than you have in the past. We just appreciate so much what we have. And God, we're thinking of those who are not as fortunate, Lord, that maybe someone who's hungry or frightened or cold. And I just pray, God, that they would find help, that someone would see them, or that they would find a church or services to help them, God, and we just want to help people. And so I pray that you would see to that. Also, God, we're just thankful for our first responders, all those who serve us and protect the citizens. God, I just pray that you would protect them this coming year as well. And God, I just appreciate our mayor and the council members. We just thank you for those that are incoming and outgoing, and that you would bless them. God, give them lots of grace. I pray that their decisions this evening and going forward would be righteous ones, God, and you'd help them, give them wisdom on how to govern our city. So we just appreciate them. And we just ask that you would bless this evening, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
for our agenda this evening, item number 2, we need to note that is going to be a roll call vote on the election of new city council officers. And do we need one for number 1?
I think we're adding a new roll call vote of the elected council as item 2, with item 3 being the election of new city council officers.
Okay, a new number 1. Okay, will be a roll call vote.
Yeah, for
Number 2.
number 2 will be a roll call.
And number 2 will be number 3. It's never confusing up here, folks, at all.
Yes.
No. So, okay, we have that. So, Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hoagland.
with that amendment, I move we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
I have a motion, and a second, to adopt the agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the adopted agenda is approved. Next, we'll move on to public forum. Mr. Clerk, may everyone sign up?
Mr. Mayor, we do. Casey Feasby.
Thank you. Be recognized for up to 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Casey Feasby. I live in the Oaks North on the corner of McMillan and McDermott Road. The reason why I wanted to come talk to you all tonight is because we're having an issue with the school, specifically Gem Prep, and the pickup and drop-off times that are happening, in the morning and the afternoon. The issue is that the school is releasing any student that wants to leave out the back, that wants to, essentially, they can go out the back door. The issue is that parents are taking advantage of that, and we have hundreds of cars every day that are picking up in the community. They're speeding, they're parking in front of driveways, parking in front of fire hydrants. They're using the walking paths as roads. They're driving on people's lawns. It's gotten to the point where people are actually setting up lawn chairs in our front lawns for 30 minutes to an hour, waiting for their students to get picked up. The issue right now is the police officers have said that it's not their responsibility because it's a public street, which is completely understandable. The school, however, has said that it's not their responsibility as the fact that they have an agreement with the HOA, which they don't. There's no crossing guards. There's nobody that's out there making sure that students are getting home safely or crossing the road safely once they leave the premises. And the school has basically said, hey, once they leave our doors, it's not our responsibility. Something needs to be done. You know, the community is turning into a parking lot. We have one day a week right now where we are not completely inundated with vehicles due to the school or the church that's in there. You know, I go to church myself. I want to see the churches grow. However, when they're having to use the residential roads to facilitate, you know, it becomes a burden on the community itself. We're at a loss of what to do. The community has been asking the school and the resources around us on what to do. So I'm asking for your help to find a solution, because it shouldn't take a child getting hit and hurt for changes to be made to the policies.
Okay, thank you very much. We will have someone from our office will follow up with you.
All right.
Thank you. Is that the only item under?
Mr. Mayor, yes.
Okay, then with that, we'll move on to action items, which is the installation of elected officials. We'll move down to the podium and I will be sworn in by the clerk, and then I will follow swearing in and ask each of you at the appropriate time to invite those that you would like to join you for the swearing in. And then afterwards, we'll come back and make any remarks that people would like to make at that point in time, if that works. Okay, all right. And if my family would like to join down at the podium, I would appreciate it.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. You can repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Idaho.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
That I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor
of the city of Meridian according to the best of my ability.
of the city of Meridian according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
I don't have my piece of paper to know who's coming up next.
Mr. Mayor, it's Councilwoman Strader.
Next up will be Councilman Strader. If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of City Councilwoman of the City of Meridian according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Mr. Mayor, next is Councilman Doug Taylor.
Good evening. And raise your hand. Perfect. It's like you've done this before. Even though you haven't, it's correct. I state your name.
I, Doug Taylor,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of City Councilman
of City Councilman
of the City of Meridian
of the City of Meridian
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. Mayor, next is Councilman John Overton.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of City Councilman
of City Council
of the City of Meridian
of the City of Meridian
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
And Mr. Mayor, next is Ann Little Roberts.
Already in position, love it. I state your name.
I, Ann Little Roberts,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and the Constitution of the State of Idaho,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of City Councilwoman
of City Councilwoman
of the City of Meridian
of the City of Meridian
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Ask the council to please rejoin their seats or join for the first time as the case may be. So before we move on to item 2, I'll ask if any of the people that were just sworn in have any comments that they would like to make at this time.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Schrader.
I do have a lot of comments, so buckle in. First of all, I would just like to say thank you to the voters of Meridian and to the residents of District 2. I am humbled that you're putting your trust in me, and I know what an important job this is, and it's with great honor that I will serve all of you. Thank you. I have a lot of thank yous. I'm very proud of the grassroots campaign that my team ran. And so I'm going to do a few thank yous. To all of the folks in public safety who support us every day and keep our city safe, thank you. Thank you to the Meridian firefighters for supporting me. You are a force of good in our community. I was so proud to receive your endorsement, your support, and your friendship. The Fraternal Order of Police, I also appreciate your support. It was critical. Having the largest voice of law enforcement in the state of Idaho beside me was incredible. 3 women who are an absolute force of nature. Number 1 is Sally Reynolds. Since getting involved as an advocate in our community, we became friends, and she watched my decisions and deliberations on our council. She painstakingly analyzed all of the decisions that our city council has made, and we are better for it. I am proud to have her support and her friendship. Sally Reynolds personally knocked on thousands of doors for me, and I appreciate her steadfast support and her friendship. Jessica Perot, there you are. She has been a strong leader on our council, and she never feared facing the big issues head on. She hit the ground with me day after day, and you will be sorely missed on our council. Mary Jones. Mary has been a huge motivator for me. She was the ultimate party planner in my campaign. She did a phenomenal job, especially giving me moral support and helping me in the neighborhood of Paramount. Randy Spiewak and I served on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. And since I asked him to support me last spring, he never wavered. Thank you, Randy. To my friends, Amy, Holly, Alexis, Genesis Milam, former councilwoman, Rochelle Klein, Melissa Bernard, my fairy godmother who's out there, each of you provided moral support and encouragement. I want to thank especially our city employees for keeping your eye on your jobs, for living our care values every day and throughout this election, not letting it distract you from your important work, and making Meridian the best city. It is an honor to serve our city together. Thank you for giving me the chance to serve you again. I'd like to thank outgoing City Council President Hoagland. I appreciate you. And it was a tough campaign, but I know your heart is true. And I'm glad that we can remain friends and that I can seek your advice and support going forward. I have big shoes to fill. Finally, to my family. First, to my parents, who are a critical part of our circus. I could not have done this without your incredible support, especially anchoring our family with your caring grandparenting during the campaign. And thank you to my kids, Evan and Lily, and Ezra and Ava. Evan and Lily did a great job door knocking with me, boosting me when I needed support, and being my cheerleaders. And finally, I saved the best for last. My husband, Chris, hates social media, hates politics, and hates attention, but he deserves a big public thank you and recognition. I want to especially thank and honor my husband, Chris. Honey, you are my rock. You have stood by our family through everything I've ever wanted to accomplish in life and building our dreams together. You are a true partner in love and in parenting. I'm so proud of the beautiful family that we've built together. Thank you for being so strong for us through thick and thin. Love you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Overton.
I'm going to do this a little different. I was appointed a year ago. In fact, tomorrow will be exactly a year. So I just did this. But I'm going to reverse things because the person I forgot to thank last time, and luckily the mayor kept her from leaving the building, I'm going to thank first, which is my wife. It took her a few weeks to figure out that every time I said I had a meeting, I had a meeting. And there were lots of them when I first started out. There were times in this position that it feels like a full-time job at city council pay, but it's the passion that knows you're doing the right job for the right reasons. It's been incredible. It's the friendships that I've had for 25 plus years with members of this city have just gotten better. If it wasn't for the people that sit up here and for the people that work for this city, I probably wouldn't be as passionate about working for the city and serving it. It's a pretty amazing place, and I just want to make sure it continues to remain that way and to serve as long as I can. And I thank everyone that works for this city, past city council members. You've all had a guiding amount of force in my life watching you do the job and watching you lead this city. And I thank you all, and especially my wife. And my grandkids do not understand what I do on Tuesday nights, and that's okay. So thank you very much.
Councilman, whoever you are. I know, it's a new one, Councilman Taylor.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Taylor.
I'll figure it out. It's a little different from this vantage point. Well, I wasn't prepared to say anything tonight because my first order of business was do no harm, but I will say a few words since it would be appropriate. I do want to echo a little bit what Councilwoman Strader said about being elected. I've been involved in campaigns and politics for close to 20 years, and it's a little different experience to be elected as opposed to working with those who are elected. And the night of our election night was brought feelings and emotions I'd never really felt before in terms of feeling entrusted by the citizens of Meridian who voted for me. It was an honor, and I felt it deeply, and I was really touched and really excited. And I've been very excited for the last couple of months to sit here. I've never been nervous until I was driving to the building tonight, and I realized this is getting real, and it's too late to back out now. So, but I do appreciate the trust that's been entrusted with me by the citizens of my district. I want to acknowledge Riley Gilbert, who's here, who helped me with my campaign, who personally also knocked on, I think, about 1,200 doors, and a lot more than I did. But all those who helped me, my kids knocked on a few doors. They helped me out, and that was great, and I really appreciate it. But I do want to mostly thank my family, my wife, Adele, my children, Ava, Torin, Brock, and Lindy. This means a little more time away from home for me. And we had a family discussion when I was considering running, and we explained to them what that meant. And so I just really appreciate their support and their love. And if you look at them, people ask, well, why do you want to run? And I just look at my family and say, well, this is a wonderful place to live, and I want it to stay that way. And I just look at my family and my kids, and it reminds me why we serve. And above all, I want to thank my wife, who is my sweetheart, and not just that she picks up the slack when I'm gone, but she encourages me to serve and to be a better person. And so I really appreciate that. In my family, we were always taught the importance of service, whether that was in your school, in your church, in whatever way. And so this is an opportunity for me to serve in this capacity, and I'm very grateful and humbled for that. I do hope to stand on the shoulders of all the good people who've served before, members of city council and others, and I'm really excited about that, to serve with my colleagues here up on the dais. It's going to be a great privilege, and so I just really appreciate it. I hope you'll be patient and let me learn with you. And the Hoagland rule, I think, of some patience and understanding when we make mistakes is going to be in full effect on me. So with that, I thank you for the honor.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Little Roberts.
Mr. Mayor, it is an honor to be back. It's been 4 years. I had the privilege of serving prior, and really honestly didn't think that I would do this again, but I had so many people reach out, and it has been such a privilege to serve. And through the campaign, Mr. Mayor, you were such a support. Many of you were so excited to be back with Luke and Joe. Hopefully, Joe, you're still listening to us, stuck in the airport. But just, I was not prepared to speak either tonight, but just want to thank so many people that worked hard. My son Nick and bonus son Garrett were out putting up signs and doing the things that I needed to do. Nick was always there as an emotional support. Both of you have been, and just so proud of you two boys. And just thank you so much for being here tonight. And thank you so much, Fire, for your amazing support and walking and knocking and talking to me, and police, Fraternal Order of Police. It's been an honor that you selected me. And so many of you that have become friends reached out, couldn't do things individually, but were always there to say, hey, we're excited and want you back. And that has meant a lot to me, because my biggest reason for running again are the people that work for Meridian. We have got an amazing team here, and the citizens benefit so greatly because of the amazing team that this city has. And I love Meridian. I chose it 20 plus years ago as my home and want to be able to give back. And this is my way of giving back to the community. So thank you for those of you that went out and worked, and those of you that voted for me. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, I want to start off by thanking my family. That's the last 4 years have been unique, to say the least, challenging at times. And we try to balance it all in the house with as best we can, but I still know I'd never be able to give to you what you deserve. So thank you for letting me serve. You all are the reason why I get up, why I come to work, and what I try to do for our community. But I know I don't say it enough. Maybe this is what I got to do in order to make that happen. But I value you all more than you realize, more than I say. And thank you for sharing me with the community. I love you very much. And, 4 years ago when I did this, my sister and I had more family that was here to be part of it. And I didn't ask them to come back. I don't even think I told them that we were doing it. Maybe they'll go online and watch, but the support that came through all of my family in different states here locally, it means more to me than I really can say in that respect. So Lori, Kent, Dad, Mom, who's there, who are not here, I value you all for your support in this endeavor, and many more beyond that. Okay, so I got that done. But the coming back into this role, when I set out 4 years ago, I said if I didn't make a difference, I wouldn't try to come and run again. And I'd like to think that the last 4 years we've made a positive difference in the community. We set things up. We continued on a path that was laid out, but I think we made advancements to the community in a way that are being felt every day by the residents, by our employees, by our businesses, by our visitors, and beyond. And I think that's because, this has already been mentioned, but by the great work of the employees that are here, by our directors for their leadership that they show, by our council for the way they think and process information and make decisions. And some of those were hard decisions. They were big decisions. And I think we weathered that as well as we could over the last 4 years. But as I said during the campaign, there's more to do. We've achieved a lot, but we're not there yet. When you have a growing, evolving, changing community, I don't know that you can ever be there, quite frankly. But we're going to find a way to move the community forward every day together to make things happen. To those out in the community that supported the campaign, like I say, it was a little different this time where I got to run citywide and everyone else got to just take a little sliver. But it was still a very interesting, unique opportunity. And I want to say thank you to the multitudes of people who put signs in their yards, who reached out, who did letter writing, who volunteered their time at night, on weekends, who donated, because it takes the entire team to make something happen. I think we fought for something during this last election. We fought for the heart and soul of our community. And I think it was very clear when that occurred what the community wants, where we're headed as a community, what's important to us as a community. And so I just want to say thank you to the voters for recognizing that, showing up, making your mark dark, and letting us move forward together for the betterment of our community. So with that, thank you. I'm excited for the next 4 years and look forward to the challenges that lay in front of us that we don't even know, and addressing the things that we do already know that are going to be there to guide us day in and day out. And with that, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Borton,
Here. Can you hear
Councilman
me?
Borton.
Yep.
Councilwoman
Here.
Strader.
Here.
Councilman Taylor.
Here.
Councilman Overton.
Here.
Councilwoman Little Roberts.
Here.
Councilman Cavanagh.
Here.
Mayor Simison.
Here. Item 3 is election of new city council officers.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
couple quick notes. The job of council president is often not appreciated for the kind of time and effort and energy that it takes to lead us as a council. As staff can attest, if you ask the city council, what do you want for dinner? You're going to get 7 different answers. And the role of council president is to kind of convene us all and work with us together. And so I assume, Mayor, we want to probably do a council president nomination and vote, and then a council vice president nomination and vote.
Sounds like a great plan.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So with that, I'd like to nominate Councilmember Joe Borton to be our council president. Councilmember Borton has previously served as a council president, and I can attest to the time and effort that he puts into being a voice for us as the council, working collaboratively with the mayor to represent our community. I think he'd be a fine council president.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Excellent. Are there other nominees for council president? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it unanimously, and Joe Borton is the new city council president.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just thank you. I'm excited for what 2024 has in store with this team. A lot of ideas and plans underway with collaboration. I know we can lead this crew and do some great things this year. So I appreciate this work from everybody.
Okay, thank you. Next up,
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
likewise, I think maybe it's because I was council vice president once. I think it's the most important position on the council for a couple of reasons. It requires a lot of tenacity and a lot of grace. The council vice president is a teacher in many ways and kind of guiding us and giving a devil's advocate perspective, no matter how easy it is for us to come to a conclusion. And so it's my distinct honor and privilege to nominate Liz Strader as our council vice president. I have thoroughly loved working alongside Councilmember Strader for these next 4 years, and know she will be an exceptional vice president and will do a remarkable job about leading our council.
Second.
Second, I have a motion and a second. Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and Councilwoman Strader is elected vice president.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Strader.
thank you. It's
Council Vice President Woman Strader.
Thank you. That is a mouthful, so we can shorten it to Councilwoman Strader. I really appreciate that, and I look forward to helping to assist Council President Borton and learning from him and helping the whole team. Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, anything on our future meeting topics? Or do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Schrader.
I move that we adjourn.
Motion adjourned. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The
Aye.
ayes have it. We are adjourned.